Forgave my family after they betrayed me once, only for them to set me up again, steal everything I owned, and leave me homeless. But when they came crawling back, I decided to ruin every last one of them. Part 1. The Betrayal. It was late when I finally got home. The day had been long, 10 hours at the garage, fixing cars, dealing with customers who didn't know the first thing about engines. But I needed the money. We needed it. Emily had been out of work for months, and the bills were piling up. I didn't mind the hard work, but I hated how it was affecting my peace of mind. I walked through the front door and immediately felt that something was off. The house was eerily quiet. I dropped my keys into the bowl by the door, expecting to hear Emily's voice, but there was nothing. I called out, "Em, you home?" But no reply. I shrugged it off, figuring she might be out with her friends or running errands. But as I walked deeper into the house, something caught my attention. The lights were on, more than usual. I had a routine. I would turn off the lights when I wasn't home. So why were they all on? And why was the front door unlocked? A sinking feeling settled in my stomach, but I tried to ignore it. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But then, I noticed something more disturbing. The living room looked different. Empty, almost. The TV was gone. My laptop was gone. Even the bookshelves were bare. I felt my pulse quicken. "Emily," I called out again, but still no response. I rushed to the kitchen, and that's when I saw it. The safe, wide open, the door hanging loose. My heart skipped a beat. I had locked it this morning before I left. I always locked it. I quickly checked my wallet. Empty. The cash was gone. My blood ran cold. I couldn't make sense of it. Who would do this? My family? I pulled out my phone, trembling. First, I called Emily. No answer. I tried my parents. Nothing. My brother Jake? Straight to voicemail. Same with my sister Lily. A pit of dread opened in my stomach. I went through the house again, room by room, finding more things missing. It was like a burglary, except this wasn't just any robbery. This was personal. And then I found it. On the kitchen counter, sitting behind the toaster, was an envelope with my name on it. It looked ordinary at first glance, but the moment I picked it up, I knew something was wrong. Inside the envelope were documents, papers I recognized instantly. Bank statements, loan agreements, contracts, and a stack of papers that were clearly forged with my signature on them. I flipped through them, the words a blur, but one thing stood out. The house was no longer in my name. The car? Gone. The bank accounts? Closed. I stared at the papers, feeling a mix of disbelief and anger. How could they do this? How could they steal everything I had worked for? And then there was a photograph. It was of Emily and Jake, standing side by side, smiling, laughing. In the photo, they looked so close, so happy. The weight of the betrayal hit me like a ton of bricks. My wife, my brother, they had done this to me. Part 2. The Fallout. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the photo of Emily and Jake, unable to comprehend what I was seeing. The betrayal was like a gut punch. The anger burned deep, but the hurt was even worse. My mind was spinning. How could Emily, the woman I married, the one I trusted above everyone else, do this to me? And Jake, my own brother, was in on it. It made sense now. The late-night calls, the constant talking behind my back. They had planned this. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I paced the house, my thoughts a jumbled mess. The life I had worked so hard to build, the trust I had placed in these people, was nothing more than a lie. I tried calling Emily again. No answer. I sent her a text. "Where are you? Please come home. We need to talk." But there was nothing. She was avoiding me. I didn't know what to do next. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my phone and dialed Jake's number again. I needed to hear his voice. I needed him to explain. He picked up on the third ring. "Hello?" "Jake?" I said, my voice low, tight with anger. "What the hell is going on? Where's Emily? Where's all my stuff?" There was a long silence on the other end. Then Jake spoke, his voice calm, almost too calm. "Man, I don't know what you're talking about. You know Emily and I haven't been getting along for a while. She's been stressed. Bullshit, I snapped, my patience wearing thin. Don't act like you're the victim. I saw the photo. I saw the damn documents. You and Emily, my own wife and my brother, have been plotting behind my back. Jake stammered, but then he cut himself off. Look, I can explain, but you won't understand right now. Just know we had to do what we did. It was necessary. Necessary? I shouted, my voice rising in disbelief. What the hell could be necessary about stealing everything I have? You've ruined my life, Jake. You and Emily. I know you're angry, but you don't get it. We needed a fresh start, he said. And I know you're pissed, but don't do anything stupid. I was about to say something more, but before I could, the line went dead. Part 3. The final straw. I stood in the silence of my empty house, still holding the phone in my hand. The weight of the situation settled in my chest like a rock. I had been betrayed, not once, but twice. First by my family's actions and then by Emily's complete disregard for everything we had built together. The anger was consuming me, but there was something else, something darker. It was the feeling of being utterly powerless. I didn't want to be a victim anymore. I couldn't just let them get away with this. But I didn't know what to do. That night, I packed up whatever belongings I could salvage. Clothes, some old photographs, and a few other personal items. The house that had once felt like home was no longer a place I wanted to stay. The next morning, I rented a truck and loaded up what was left of my life. I couldn't bear to be in the same place where I had lost everything. Emily and Jake had taken it all. My belongings, my peace, my trust, and I had nothing left to keep me there. I drove out of town that day, heading for another city, hoping that I could put the pieces of my life back together. The drive was long, but it gave me time to think. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I knew that I couldn't go back. Not now. Not ever. Part 4. Starting over. I moved into a small apartment on the outskirts of the city. The place was cheap, but it was a roof over my head. The first few days were hard. I didn't know anyone. I had no family, no friends, and nowhere to turn. But I kept my head down and focused on the work. I found a job at a steel mill and started over. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. I wasn't going to let them break me. I spent the next few months in a routine. Wake up, work, come home, sleep, repeat. It wasn't much, but it was my life now. The pain of what had happened slowly faded into the background, replaced by a new kind of numbness. I didn't let myself feel much anymore. It was easier that way. But then, one day my phone rang. I looked at the caller ID and my heart skipped a beat. It was Jake. I didn't answer. Part 5. The Return of the Past. I stared at my phone, watching the call from Jake go to voicemail. I was tempted to pick up, but I knew that I couldn't let him drag me back into his mess. I had to move forward, no matter how much he tried to pull me into the same cycle of lies and betrayal. But it didn't stop there. For the next few weeks, Jake kept calling. Sometimes he would leave messages. Sometimes there would just be silence on the other end. But I ignored him. I had nothing left to say to him. Then, one evening, as I was sitting in my apartment trying to drown out the memories with a beer, I received a text from Emily. The message was simple. I need to talk to you. Please, call me. I didn't know how I felt about it. Part of me wanted to rage at her for everything she had done. The other part of me wondered if I should hear her out. Maybe, just maybe, she had realized the weight of what she'd done. But I didn't trust her anymore. I had given her everything, and she had thrown it all away. I deleted the message without responding. Osti. Part 6. The Desperation of the Past. 2 months later, I was starting to settle into a new rhythm in the city. The pain of what had happened was always there, lingering in the back of my mind, but I had learned how to manage it. I focused on my work, and when I wasn't working, I spent time with the few friends I had managed to make. But then, out of nowhere, I received a message that shook me to my core. It wasn't from Jake or Emily. It was from my sister, Lily. I need your help. We're in trouble. Please, we've got nothing left. We're broke. I'm begging you. We need you. The message felt like a slap in the face. After everything they had done to me, after the betrayal, after the way they had taken everything from me, now they wanted my help? I sat there, staring at the message, my hands trembling. There was no way I was going to help them. Not after everything. They had taken everything from me and left me with nothing. They had ruined my life. But the more I thought about it, the more a feeling of cold resolve washed over me. I had moved on, but they hadn't. They were desperate. And I knew something else now. They needed me. Part 7. A Taste of Revenge. I didn't respond to Lily's message right away, but I couldn't just ignore them, not when they had dragged me into their mess so many times before. I had a decision to make. I wasn't going to let them get away with what they had done. Not again. I picked up my phone, and this time I dialed Jake's number. He picked up on the first ring. "Hello?" he answered, his voice uncertain. "You know why I'm calling," I said, my voice steady. "I'm done running. You and Emily, you've taken everything from me. Now it's my turn." Jake went silent for a moment. "What do you mean? What do you want from us?" "You know exactly what I want," I said. "You and Emily, both of you. You've made a mess of my life, and now I'm going to make a mess of yours." I hung up the phone without waiting for a response. The next day, I went down to the local bank and started the paperwork to seize the assets they had stolen from me. The house, the car, the accounts, they were all mine again. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to do whatever it took. By the end of the week, I had everything in place. The plan was set. I was going to destroy everything they had built. I wasn't going to just take my life back, I was going to leave them with nothing. Part 8. The Fallout of Revenge. It took a few weeks for everything to fall into place, but when it did, the results were immediate. I had sent out a series of legal threats and contacted people I knew in the business world. I knew how to manipulate the system. I knew how to make things go in my favor. It was time for them to feel the consequences of their actions. Emily, Jake, and Lily had thought they could take everything from me and walk away. They had no idea who they were messing with. I had nothing to lose now. The tables had turned, and I wasn't playing nice anymore. When the letters started arriving at their homes, notifying them of the legal actions I had taken, their lives began to unravel. The car they had stolen from me was impounded. The house was seized. The bank accounts were frozen. They called. They begged. They cried. But I didn't pick up. I had spent too many years being manipulated, too many years being the one they came to when they needed something. I wasn't their punching bag anymore. Part 9. The Endgame. A few months later, I received a call from Emily. She was broken, desperate. She told me that she had nothing left. She was living in a small apartment, working part-time jobs just to make ends meet. Jake and Lily had lost everything as well. "I don't know what happened to us," she said, her voice shaking. "I was wrong, okay? I made a huge mistake, but I swear I never meant to hurt you. We were just desperate. Please, can we make it right?" I listened to her, but I wasn't moved. She had done her damage. She had helped destroy everything I had, and now she wanted forgiveness. It was too late for that. "You can't fix what you've done, Emily," I said, my voice cold. "You had your chance. You've all had your chance, but it's over now." I hung up the phone, feeling a strange sense of relief. It was done. They wouldn't be able to hurt me anymore. And that was the final lesson. You can't go back. Once someone shows you who they really are, you have to believe them.